Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. It is the National Puerto Rican Day for us here up and down New York, East Coast. And we're here to talk about some wrestling. Let's talk some wrestling. But first, let's say what's up to my partner, the one only PG Chris. What up, Chris?
What is up, brother Wes? Happy Puerto Rican Day to all my Puerto Ricans out there. You know, we're going to continue to represent for the culture in this scene, in this podcast. You know, we rep that flag every single day, not just in June. So happy Puerto Rican Day to all my Boricuas out there. Yes, what a crazy weekend. Crazy week, but crazy last couple, 24 hours, 48 hours of wrestling. Two great shows yesterday we're going to talk about. So we're going to do our thing, but get ready. It's going to be a very, very good show. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where I want to start because there's so much professional wrestling. We normally like to do the chronological order of the week, where it goes, where it comes from, from Monday all the way down to current events. But I think everyone's tip on their tongue. Let's go with it because why procrastinate? Go right to it. As wrestling fans, can we handle the R-Truth? Because it seems like R-Truth interjected himself in that main event on Money in the Bank, and wow, no one had that coming. No one saw that. No one could predict it. No fadeaway media. No Corey, the Thunder Page. Nobody else whatsoever could predict it. And he tries to copy and paste as soon as it comes out, but no one predicted R-Truth. If you watch my watch along, you see when he's going in and hitting, and when the shirt pops up and you see the flesh. I said, I started saying, "What's up? What's up?" I knew that part was true, but I didn't know that it was going to be R-Truth coming in and interject. Chris, R-Truth, give me your thoughts.
I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to be honest. I'm 50-50 with the whole, we used our voice and TKO hurt us, or, Triple H saying at the press conference it's all part of the show. There's a couple of reasons why I'm 50-50 about it. I'll start with this. He's coming back as Ron Killings, not R-Truth. Ron Killings is here. That was the official post WWE put it on their social media when they, announced that they were selling his merch. Is he back in the WWE as Ron Killings, or is he signed with or is he still a part? Is this part of his last couple months or weeks left of his current contract that they're quote unquote not renewing, or is he signed under a TNA umbrella while he part on WWE television because WWE can because of the partnership? There's a lot of questions that I have. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have a specific one that I'm leaning towards or, my theory, because I don't know. Those are just a bunch of things that are playing out in my mind. However, talk about the swerve of the century, because let's say we used our voice. TKO hurt us, because a part of me just doesn't believe TKO is going to listen to the fans after all the BS that they're doing. That's a part of me that I can't believe. I don't know what to believe. But let's just say we did. I mean, We Want Truth chants have been going on every single show, not just WWE. We even made a joke, like, imagine AEW follows up, like, We Want Truth, like, because everyone in this community loves R-Truth. There was no need for him to be released in the first place. I love this because I think his stock, no one's going to be calling him a clown anymore. No one's going to be calling him that comedy guy anymore. Ron Killings is here. Yeah, you guys are going to see a whole different side of R-Truth. I think we're all going to see a different side, or more serious side of R-Truth. Maybe he's the one to turn John Cena babyface after he drops the title, whatever. Because with King of the Ring coming up, I see Cody winning it. That's his way to get my match at SummerSlam. Again, I know I'm going into head, but hear me out, because R-Truth ties into that. I think he will ultimately, help John Cena turn him face. He'll help John Cena turn him face. Like, he'll be like, come on, dog. Like, he'll be more serious, but, eventually I think he'll get John Cena to turn face again when Cody wins the title at SummerSlam. And, maybe they have another match. Maybe R-Truth gets into that title scene against Cody. Maybe he aligns himself with. I don't know. Again, there's a lot of things that are coming to my mind when it comes to R-Truth. But I love it, and again, because no one expected it, like Kev said. You're lying to yourself if you're sitting in front of your screen and said R-Truth is going to come out at any point tonight. We all thought this man was never going to be on WWE TV ever again. So the fact that he did what he did as a fan, now, for a second, then let me not think ahead, let me not theorize. As a fan in that specific moment, that's one of the most organic moments since maybe the yes. If we used our voice, TKO, WWE heard us. Talk about an organic moment. I mean, they were chanting "We Want Truth" the entire night, even before that, and he arguably got the loudest pop of the night. Not arguably, did get the loudest pop of the night. He saved the main event. So Ron Killing's stock just went up. I don't know if he signed. I don't know if he re-signed. I don't know who he signed. There's a lot of things I don't know. So I'm not going to theorize. I'm not going to lean towards one thing. Those are just a couple things that I have in mind. But great to see Ron Killing's R-Truth back in WWE. And I hope we see him, Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, maybe cut a promo Friday, whatever. I'm really looking forward, and I think there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered this week.
Look, no, two things came to my head. No one said his contract was over. He could still be wrestling out his remainder of his dates. You're popular. You're over right now. You're signed until July 17th. I don't know. I'm just throwing a date out there. We're going to still keep you on television, get you over, and still work and have you work until then and give you the proper send-off. Maybe he has a retirement match, or they'll borrow a little bit from TNA with the Cody Deaner situation where he's wrestling for a contract extension or contract negotiation. I don't know. Just I'm putting it out there. But for them to say, oh, WWE caved, they're listening, like Sean Ross has. I have chills. They listened. Listen, fella. It's called the art of negotiation. Wrestling, also it was said that Nick Khan has tried to reach out to speak to Ron Killings, and he ghosted him, didn't pick up his call, no communication, no comunicado with him whatsoever until the last second. And then Ron Killings is here doing what he had, and that's art of negotiation. Maybe he did get the number that he wanted, which WWE tried to lowball. Maybe they met in the middle. That's called the art of negotiation. That's a lost art. A wrestler's not going anywhere. I'm leaving. We know what happens. They go on their social media, and they go cut a negative promo and burn their bridges. If Ron Killings negotiated and did a phenomenal job of returning back to the WWE, while just not saying nothing, being quiet, shutting up, keeping zippets, not going there and and doing like I'm gonna throw names out there like Ricochet, Gigi Dolan, Elena Black, and others. You burn your fucking bridges. R-Truth did it smart. What he did? Kept it quiet. You know what he did? The people. We want truth. People were the advocate. And Bully Ray says this all the time. If you're over, you want to know if you're over? Go stand in the middle of the freaking ring with no music, no nothing, and let me hear the crowd serenade you. And that's exactly what Ron Killings did. Ron Killings went out there and they were serenaded. Great job by Ron Killings. He'll be back with the WWE. Good job there. And I'm going to be honest with you. He saved the main event of Money in the Bank.
100%.
Let's talk about it. Because the whole Saturday afternoon was great from Worlds Collide. We're going to talk about all that right now. And the whole Money in the Bank was really good. Then we got to the main event and it was dull. It was lagging. It was dull. It was like, oh my God, they're going to ruin the great Saturday of professional wrestling. And our Killings coming out, turned it around. You got the happy go moment with Cody Rhodes hitting the crossroad on John Cena. I don't know, I'm a little confused. Is Logan Paul going to turn on John Cena? They're back and forth. It feels like, oh my God. And then, you're pulling your hair because you see Alta Johnson, aka The Rock's mom, sitting at ringside with The Rock's daughters, and I'm like, oh my god, The Rock is here. Oh my god, you're really gonna put you're giving us the cod liver pill or the cod liver serum tonight? I was like, oh, Chris. It was just like, I was like, I'm glad that The Rock didn't show up to interject in the story.
I wouldn't have been surprised, dude. They were right in one of the biggest parts of LA. I wouldn't have been surprised, but I'm happy we got what we got. I agree.
All in all, look, let's talk about the Money in the Bank matches. The men's and women's. For your opinion, Naomi wins the women's Money in the Bank matchup. Good job on her. We were waiting for her to get that uber push. I love the story of the match. All the women, they got to shine. I don't see one lady in the six competitors did not have an underwhelming performance. I thought they were phenomenal. From Julia, from Roxanne Perez, from Stephanie Becker wrestling twice and 3 times in less than 48 hours. Not showing a bit of not even one bit of fatigue for that woman. My goodness, talk about an iron woman. I thought everyone showed out well. I thought Naomi winning was the right, and I love the way they finished. Give me your thoughts on the women before we get into the men, as I got it quiet.
Yeah, real quick. The women's Money in the Bank, it was really good. Like Kev said, I think everybody got their spots. I think everybody looked really good. A lot of first time Money in the Bank participants in this match. So it was really good. I enjoyed it. Roxanne Perez looked really good. I know a lot of people thought she had a chance, and I'm not saying she didn't have a chance, but she's somebody who is going to be in probably the next 4 Money in the Bank ladder matches and probably win one of them at least. So she has a great future ahead in these type of matches. I think Naomi winning was the right call. I've wanted her, me and Kev have wanted her to win for a long time. And I think it's her time. She's like me and Kev allude to, like I told Kev, I tell him off air, I tell him on the playback. I think Naomi's the only real legit chance they have of getting a heel. So why not utilize her? Why not have the Money in the Bank contract? Now this makes her stock even look higher when she's in the ring with the Jade or Bianca. She's like, I got the briefcase. What do you got? And maybe I hope it's not a failed cash, and I pray it's not a failed cash, and because if Naomi wins, that elevates their story even more because there's title implications on the line. But if there is a cash failing, I would still understand it because of the story going into it with Bianca or Jade. So either way, I think this was the only decision that WWE could have made. I don't think any other decision would have made the most sense compared to this one. So I'm really happy for Naomi, and I'm really happy that now we got a really good start. Not a good start. We're in the middle phase. We're getting the more interesting part of the Naomi, Jade, and Bianca storyline. So I'm excited for what they got going on SmackDown weeks to come. It's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, her winning that Money in the Bank helps her storyline. But one thing I didn't get any other storylines coming out of the women's Money in the Bank. Like what's ramifications and storylines coming out of it. But it's okay because on Friday night, and I know we're jumping a little bit from the order, but on Friday night, Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce both announced that they're going to have the Queen and King of the Ring tournament throughout Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, leading to the finals, where I don't agree with this one, though. The finals being a Night of Champions. I know it's the Night of Champions, and I know the pay-per-view or the PLE says it, but you have a women's evolution. You should have had the tournament. They should have crowned the Queen of the Ring at the Women's Revolution that night, but that's just me, because it brings, interest, because you have women from all over. I guess it's a separate entity because the women, they're making it seem like it's the first time ever, but they did that stipulation last year. If you win the King of the Ring, you get the main event on SummerSlam. So why are they making a big deal about it again this year when last year Nia Jax had that title match and with I believe Gunther. So what was the big deal? What's the big this year there's big ramifications. You did it last year, pal. I mean, what was the? I didn't get that either from WWE. Let's go right to the Money in the Bank situation for the men. Everyone's favorite LA Knight. believe it or not, I thought Chris said the men's were a little more greater than the women. You know what? The women's been stealing their show from the Royal Rumble to the Money in the Bank for years now. And yeah, I think to me the MVP without not going over was Andrade. I thought Andrade and the men's Money in the Bank shows you why Idolo, people have high hopes on him. When you hear his name and they get frustrated not seeing him on your television putting on matches, and you see a lot of his potential. When you put him in those spots there, the guy delivers. And I thought he delivered some great move on some Penta. My goodness, the Canadian destroying the tail. We knew those guys were going to bring the oohs and ahs moments. At the end of the day, who was the right person to win it? Is it Seth Rollins? Because he didn't really need the briefcase. Did you like the Seth Rollins winning it?
I don't think he needs the briefcase. I don't hate Seth Rollins winning it. I feel like this is just going to be another one of those men's Money in the Banks where they put no effort into it. They put all the effort into the women's Money in the Banks with Io, with Tiffany. I mean, Priest was the only one that they really took their time with, because I don't think they had anything to right now. But I have a feeling that, if whatever happens between Jay and Gunther, I think Seth could cash in during that. And that match is happening tomorrow, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, it's tough, because this could be another waste Money in the Bank. And why does Seth Rollins why do you want him to get the title so quick? After he just turned right after WrestleMania, like you already, like when Heyman keeps saying the end game is Seth Rollins, we're gonna get to that end game right here already. With Seth cashing in and the Money in the Bank, they didn't need to do this. They could have easily, and he could have even challenged for Cody or Cena or something down the line. Like, there's so many things that he could have done. But even with the briefcase, because I don't want it to be like Jay, like he could still do something with Cena. I think Seth and Cena again would be cool, or something with if Cody wins it back, or if he. My point is, I would like him to hopefully keep it a couple months. Tease us a little bit, not too much like they did with Priest, but tease it a little bit, and then when it's time, it's time. Again, I don't hate it. I would have liked. Again, I don't like LA Knight, but I would have liked to seen LA Knight maybe get in that scene, because he's lost on SmackDown. He's lost on SmackDown. I think Raw would be good for him. And that would have been a good way to get him there with like the Logan Paul and the Jey Uso. So maybe they lost the ball on that. Again, I don't hate the Seth Rollins thing. I would have preferred LA Knight, but again, I don't hate it.
Listen, I think they lost an opportunity here with LA Knight winning the because all LA Knight had to do was be opportunistic, climb the ladder, and win the briefcase. You would have had him on Monday Night Raw coming out. You would have had him on SmackDown. You could even ride that sensation showing up at NXT. Like just showing up with the briefcase. He doesn't just teasing. In the team with Trick Williams having a TNA match, and LA Knight comes out, and everyone with the briefcase. Even he's just sitting there. Everybody's like, "Oh, is he going to?" Yeah, everyone wins. Everyone gets to see eyeballs. They miss an opportunity on the marketing. Let's face it, TV ratings are starting to go down. Raw drew the lowest ratings since being on Netflix. It's summertime. It's getting warm. You got a hot act in LA Knight. You could have just pulled the trigger and have him there. Rollins, you could still get Rollins to the world title picture by winning the King of the Ring tournament. I don't believe he has won that in his career yet. He's won the Money in the Bank. He didn't need it. You could have went the route of him winning the tournament, because let's face it, isn't Rollins considered to be one of the best wrestlers in the world right now? Isn't that the big? So what does it make more of a stock? He has a group with him, a badass. He has the wise man, and he's the best wrestler, the King of the Ring. I think that would have given him a much more prestige of taking over the WWE. Like Triple H tweeted out, he says to Seth Rollins in his quest of supreme dominancy, a paraphrase. I think that would have been a better route for him. I beat everyone in your tournament that you put at me. I'm coming for those titles. I think that would have been storyline wise, and I think it would gravitate to us more personally than him winning, taking a chance, winning a briefcase. You really didn't pin anyone. I think it would have helped LA Knight. You could have LA Knight go in all the different shows just with his popularity, and I think it would have boosted everyone. I thought everyone could have ate from TNA to NXT to Raw and SmackDown, where they, let's face it, they needed it. I thought that was a handling there, but at the end of the day, Rollins is going to be world champion. I don't know by hook or by crook. Maybe they don't want to do it for SummerSlam, Chris, and that's why he's not winning the King of the Ring. Maybe that's why. And they go in the briefcase, he can win it sometime in September when they're going to do the new fall season where the new rating quarters come in. Maybe Rollins is the face going into the October, winter months. I don't know. I don't know.
You could be right. You could be right. He around. I know because I was there. He was dealing with this stuff around that time last year. Put the title on him. I don't mind. I just, again, when Paul Heyman alludes to the end game is Seth Rollins being the face and the world champion, I just hope we're not there tomorrow night. I would like this to not drag, but give a little more and see where it goes. But I didn't hate it. There's just more that they could have done with LA Knight with the briefcase, in my opinion. That's it. But I don't hate it.
But you know what? You know what's not hated? What a night for the Lopez Lynch household, or Quinn, the Lopez Quinn household, because the one and only Becky Lynch wins the Intercontinental Women's title of Alive of Valkyria in a good match. Some people don't like the fact that Becky Lynch won the title, doesn't need it. What happens for Lyra? Maybe Lyra's going to go off and get married now with her fiance. They've been engaged for quite some time. Maybe that's something behind it. It's none of our business, but maybe I'm putting that out there for those that want to look at it as a negative aspect. And it kind of sucks because when you're hot and you're over at a WWE with a title, especially a mid-card women's title, do you really want to take a chance to go get married? But listen, who are we to tell you to postpone your marriage to your love of your life and say no for a couple of ungrateful people on the IWC who's going to turn on you immediately when once the new flavor of the month comes out? If that's something that she wants us to do and go out there and honeymoon and live, hey, who are we to say that, I respect that totally. But man, for her to drop that title, where does Becky Lynch go next? It looks like that's over, that feud. I don't want to see the ladies wrestle again unless if there's a tournament or something where if I'm more contender that she's back at it. We're not done yet. Although Lyra did suplex her, like, to shut up already. You're humiliating me long enough. That's twice where Becky's taking the title away from. Actually, no, they're 1-1, so you can have a rubber match. She took the NXT Women's title. Lyra now. Becky's taking the IC title. Do we run it back or someone else comes in? Maybe Bayley. Where the hell is Bayley?
That's kind of where I was getting to, because, and I'm happy you brought that up, because yesterday or on the playback, we kind of gave a little bit of the Money Bank predictions before the Worlds Collide event, and I remember saying, the mid-card title scene, they made this for people like Lyra to get over, to fit into the roster, into the shows with meaningful storylines, because if you have a championship implicated, it's important. So that was their chance for those mid-card ladies like Lyra. Again, you say all that about what she wants to do. I agree. If that's something take a break, do what you got to do. I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it, because we saw what we kind of complained about the Becky Lynch thing with the NXT, and she ended up putting was it Tiff? No, it wasn't. It was who beat Becky for the NXT title when she had it? Was it Tiffany before she moved up, or
no? It was Lyra took it from Becky.
Lyra took it. Okay, okay. So my point is, she's going to do this again with the IC title. Now, I don't mind Becky and Bayley, but what does this say for the mid-card title going forward when you have two veterans like that going for it? I wouldn't mind it. It's good, but the story's there. That's why I wouldn't mind it. The story's right there, and you could absolutely do that and then put somebody over after that. So I I'm not gonna look at it as negative. I'm not gonna Becky Hogan. I'm gonna, that's, I gave you the positives. I think that's gonna happen down the future. I'm just curious where the direction's gonna go, because you're right, we haven't seen Bayley. So I don't know if Bayley's gonna come out of nowhere and maybe next challenge, or if we're gonna see somebody just, a new challenger, something fresh and new for Becky, which I would love, because again, I'm one of those people that want these titles to be showcased for the mid card. Yes, happy Puerto Rican Day. Yes, sir.
I'm with you on that. We'll see where we go. I want to see. Look, if we get at the new Evolution coming up on the 13th of July, Becky Lynch versus Bayley, I'm all for it. For the Women's Intercontinental, I want to see it, because I know the ladies will deliver. They'll put a good storyline. They can even go back to the histories in Black and Gold, talk about who the opportunities that Becky has done over. They could do a whole storyline with that. That could even go, if it's true. I'm not saying this is any truth. If Bayley's unhappy and wants a release or wants to renegotiate, go on for other clashes, lose your league town match. Pretty much. Haven't done that in years. If she wants to go elsewhere and explore adventures, no problem with that. Make a stipulation. Do something. I'm for it. I don't want to see Bayley leave the WWE. I definitely don't. But if she's unhappy and rather than just getting cut, not being used and catering, if that's going down the line, I'm not saying there's not facts. I don't have any facts. I don't have any truth to it. Maybe she's just taking time for a surgery or whatever. It's none of our business. She's not on TV right now. But if she's not going to be part of WWE's future, and that's something down the line where there's a mutual parting of ways, make a lose the league title match. At least we get a closure and a goodbye, for Bayley if she's leaving at the Evolution pay-per-view or PLE, if that's the case there. We'll find out where that goes down the line, but we'll find. Only time will tell. Only time will tell what happens there with that situation with the women's mid card title, the Intercontinental title. Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon. Now that match was done on the Worlds Collide. The build for that, which it didn't really need a lot of storyline and build. If you were watching that and you saw what happened on Worlds Collide, we'll get into it too. They had the Intercontinental title match. It wasn't long, but it wasn't terrible. Non-stop action. Octagon Jr. continues to deliver, showing us, that style there. And Dominic Mysterio just continues to elevate. I think that's a good thing with AAA, where Dominic will, terrorize a little bit of AAA wrestlers. And they come in, they get over. We got to see Mr. Iguana. We got to see, all the different luchadors that wrestled at Worlds Collide, at Money in the Bank, sitting in the ring. Love it. I love the way they're presenting them. And all it was a good for both wrestling company and promotion, despite the fact Dominic beating Octagon. It was like 8-minute match tops.
Yeah, no, it was good. It wasn't that short. It's what it needed to be. You want to showcase Octagon Jr. He's, his father's a legend down there. He's one of him El Hijo. They're, some of the top names in AAA. So you want to make them look strong. And we'll get in when we get in a little bit of the Worlds Collide. I'll talk more about that. But they did a good job with this match. I liked it.
Yes, that was a good one. I think we got all Worlds Collide. I don't believe we left everything. The men's Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank, Intercontinental, Dominic, and the tag team title match. The tag team match. Yeah.
I'm
not gonna go too much on it. It wasn't really, to me. R-Truth coming out saved it. Wasn't really.
Let's be honest. R-Truth is what everyone wants to hear us talk about anyway.
Yeah, so. Really. Nobody wants. Cody. It was great to see Cody back. Jey Uso. I'm starting to feel like Jey Uso starting to lose a little bit of this love and flair. On the arenas, you love it because you want to be the one. You're hoping that he comes down your aisle and you get to yeet with him, and your child gets to get on, and he grabs your child and you get to do the yeet. You might get some sunglasses. That's great in the arena, but on television, what totally disconnected me, and I said it on my watch along, was on Friday Night SmackDown. You had Cody Rhodes in the ring with Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Rollins and Heyman. It was actually 4-on-1 if you think Heyman's could give a couple kicks and punches. Last Roman, he pretty much fisted him on the PLE a couple weeks ago. He really jammed it up there. You're like, why, if your boy is out there, that's your tag team partner, and he's surrounded by vicious killers, why are you, I'm going to take my time. Wait, no. You gotta take my time. I gotta yeet. I gotta yeet. Oos. I gotta make sure. Oos. I gotta oos. I gotta yeet with the crowd.
It's starting to lose me. It's starting to lose me too. And I look.
Psychologically,
Yep.
don't go with me. I love you, Jay. We love you, man. We with you. We even we use the yeet word here all the time. Yeet. You know, we close our shows with the yeet. But when you have friends and that's your boy, you can't wait. You gotta go out there and defend them, man. You can't let them go get their ass kicked because I gotta yeet. Come on, man. Come on.
Like Kev said, man, I'm disconnected with the eating. I have nothing really much to add because I was there. I got to sit in the suite where he walked right by me. I was this close. I have it on video. It was great. And, you know, it was good because, you know, he was cutting a promo, so he didn't need to go to the ring, anything like that. I think it's just some things sometimes to drag it out for time, but you need to make it look realistic. Just like Kev alluded to with, you know, your guys getting beat up. Like, just make it look realistic. Or, you know, have him come to the crowd, maybe or maybe just have him run down and, like, whatever. Like, I still don't think you should run to the crowd if you're trying to save your friend. But if you have to, because they even do the spot or the camera where it's like they show the camera of Jey Uso behind the thing. I'm like, we don't have time for you. Don't have time for that, bro. Like that's the specific spot that I was like, disconnect. It was So I agree with Kev.
That's a disconnect. Oh, you know, look, when the main event, when you're about to start and there's no physicality and you're waiting for his entrance, that works great. Monday Night Raw, you know, it works great. When you're in a tag team and you got someone counting on you for your back, they can't wait for you to eat, man. They can't. No, it's like, you know, it's just you can't, and that's all. It's just let's not even harp on too much on that. Hopefully, it doesn't turn the people completely sour. He is still over. I will still buy his Yeet merch. I still will say Yeet. He's, you know, all that good stuff with Jey Uso. I don't want him to lose the title just because of that move. But you can see where you get these slings and arrows from the IWC with the psychology of that on that. So we'll see. Let's go right to Worlds Collide, man. Worlds Collide was a phenomenal show. You know, it was on the WWE YouTube channel for everyone to watch. Everybody and their mother has YouTube. You know, we know that. You could see that. I love the fact that you had the representation of the AAA front office there. You had Shawn Michaels, Paul Levesque, Triple H. They sang the national anthem for both respective countries, Mexico and the United States. All in all, we got to showcase and see some matches. I think what everyone loved of the whole card, no ads. No ads, no bullshit commercials, no stopping here about Pizza Hut, Cash App, you know, Dude Wipes, Preparation H. It was just straight lucha libre, wrestling. And here's the thing, it wasn't convoluted where it was rush. They let things breathe as well. Even at the spot, in between matches, they still let it breathe. They still had good stuff. They kept us entertained for 2.5 hours. There was multi 6-man tag matches, and you didn't feel like it was a redundancy. And some of the move spots by some of these wrestlers that we're watching and getting to know for the very first time, like a Dr. Wagner Jr., like an Iguana Man, like, you know, if you haven't seen Laredo Kid, if you haven't seen El Lince Dorado, if you haven't seen, you know, wrestlers like El Hijo de Vaquinho, I think everyone has, because if you're a wrestling fan, you've seen both of his matches on All Elite, TNA, and so forth, and you heard of him. But all in all, what a hell of a card. The women, you know, not first time seeing Chica Tormenta and Dallas, you know, wrestle, you know, they wrestled that hard, strong match, you know, strong style, where they put the right two ladies, where Stephanie Becker, who cut her teeth in Lucha Libre in Mexico from CMLL, a little bit of AAA, where, you know, and Lola Vice coming from her MMA Bellator background, who could take the hard strikes from a Chica Tormenta and a Dallas. I thought those ladies killed it on that tag team match. They were phenomenal. You know, and I'm also impressed with the two ladies from AAA. They were really good. And I want to give the biggest flowers and compliment of the whole night to me personally, Corey Graves and Conan. They both were great on commentary. They both had I had a little bit of the heel and babyface kind of back and forth a little bit, or Conan calling him out.
Conan was so knowledgeable.
Yes. And you know what was great about it, Chris? He gave us a backstory of the wrestlers, their moves, their stories. And that sometimes it was simple. Something simple as, you know, he calls this move this, because he does this, that. It was just that simplicity, not treating us like a bunch of morons or you should know or know it all. You should know that. Oh, no, he looks like an iguana. You should know. He should have an iguana puppet because that iguana is his pet. But he went and told the story. You know what? If you didn't insult, as a first-time viewer of the wrestlers, you didn't insult my intelligence, making me seem like I should know, and you didn't make me feel stupid explaining to me the purpose behind each individual wrestler.
First off, seeing not just Conan on WWE television for a whole show, but Conan and Corey Graves, that was a combination. I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna work. Nah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed their commentary. Corey is, you know, he's there for the WWE. You know, you have Conan, you have one representation from each. So I like that off the jump. Again, Conan, that's why I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but he was so knowledgeable when it comes to telling us the backstory, telling us the history of AAA. You know, from the beginning when Rey Mysterio comes out, I also love that too. People, I don't think WWE, again, I wasn't around during that time. I'm a little younger, but when people say WWE made Lucha Libre mainstream in the United States, I think Rey Mysterio made Lucha Libre popular in the United States. So it was just right, you know, from where he started in AAA to where he's gonna retire and where he's in the Hall of Fame, WWE. It was a beautiful moment to start that off. I loved the announcing in Spanish. The vibe, it made the vibe way. If like for us, I know, you know, because me and Kev understand it, you know, it made us feel more comfortable with watching the show, because, you know, we could relate a little more, you know, culturally. I thought it fit right. It made sense. Just the little things of the show. I thought the stage, the presentation, the ropes being in the Mexican colors. So I just want to start off with a little bit of the presentation before I get into the actual match, because the presentation off the jump looked really, really good. As for the in-ring skills, the matches, you know, Kev alluded to them. I agree. You know, the 6-man match, you know, they all got their showing. You know, it was a different type of style of matches we've seen on WWE TV. So I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I think the ladies with Lola and Stephanie, they made a really good tag team, and it was different because, you know, they all know Lucha Libre, and with Lola, it's not really her style. She's more the striker, combat sports, like Kev alluded to, with her having the MMA background. So I don't think you could find anyone on that roster besides her and Stephanie that, because I said this on our watch along last night during the playback. We know wrestling, you know, they're on the same page. They know what's going on. Those ladies out there in Mexico don't play. They hit you for real. They will hit. Chica Tormenta will hit you for real. And she will, you know, she'll play it. She'll be safe, but they're going to hit down there. And I think, and you saw it too with Lola taking some of those bumps. So I think she did phenomenal. She had a great showing. Her freaking gear was amazing. And let's be honest, if you're a man, the spot of the night was like off the double Lola Stephanie little devil's move, whatever it's called. I loved it. No, they had a really good match. I would love to see Stephanie and Lola team in the future. You know, a little more matches like this, because all four of them should be being the only women's match on this card. All four of them, especially the Chica Tormenta, you know, all the AAA ladies, they should. I know they probably feel like, wow, we were on WWE. I know they're proud of themselves. They should be. They represented the ladies really well for AAA. And I got a little bit of worried of that, and that's why I said I'm going to put a pin on that, and I'll talk about this now. You know, I was really a little bit of worried that, you know, WWE would make their talent look way too strong. And so, you know, in the Fatal 4-Way match, now I'll get into that, right, with Javon, Ray Phoenix, Legado Kid, Ethan Page. I wanted Javon to win. I like Ethan Page winning. I don't mind it. It makes sense. But you saw Legado Kid being the only AAA representation. And I said, oh, I hope he has a good show. They made him look really good. they gave him his own moments at a lot of times. The crowd was really behind him, especially being the only AAA guy in the match. I thought Javon had a really good showing. Ethan Page getting heat with the crowd. This was well put together. They tried their best building it up on SmackDown and NXT, and I think they did good for what they were on, for the time they were on, the shows building it. I enjoyed that match. The main event, I enjoyed the main event. El Hijo he's the guy for AAA. He's their face. He's their Roman Reigns. He was champion for 600 something days, but his first title run when he defended it in AEW with Kenny Omega and all that. So I really love El Hijo being in WWE. It's surreal to see him main event a WWE Worlds Collide show. I'm really happy for him. And I love this going into it because you see with Chad Gable going against these luchadors, he's not going to do it's not going to be all flippy kicks like we got in the beginning. We love that because, started off hot, get the crowd going. Let's see some, like I like to, graps. Like me and Kev, let's see some graps. Chad Gable's going to give you graps, and El Hijo's going to give you the whoa moments, and they're both going to balance each other out. I enjoyed this show. Besides Money in the Bank being the Money in the Bank theme, briefcases, I enjoyed this pay-per-view a hell of a lot better than Money in the Bank. In-ring match-wise. I'm not saying the pay-per-view because we had R-Truth, we had Jacob, we had the moments, the big moments happen in the Money in the Bank. But in-ring graps, Worlds Collide, baby.
We forgot to bury that. The Solo Sikoa, Jacob Batu turning on one.
Well, real quick, I think it makes sense. I don't think there's much to add. I think it makes sense for them going forward if they, we're all talking about Solo again. I'm sorry, guys, if we're going on a little back and forth or timeline here, but I think, Kev, if we wanted to see Solo and Jacob for a while for the U.S. title, why not just do it? That was a good way to do it because now he calls a Solo something, and now Solo's like, well, you caused me my Money in the Bank, I'm taking your U.S. title. I think it's a simple booking.
Yeah, and it gave birth on Friday Night SmackDown when you hear Solo calling Jacob stupid, and Jacob was behind the door listening, or behind the gate listening, and you're like, oh damn, that's kind of heartbreaking. Your own family, your own blood calling you dumb. You're not the dumbest person, smartest person in the world. You're dumb.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it finally resonated where, all right, I'm gonna help you almost get to the top and win that briefcase. No, I hate you. You're not winning. So yeah, that's the we didn't want to bury. We kind of buried a little bit of the league while doing the Money in the Bank. But whoa, that's a quick rehash there with what Chris said about Worlds Collide. All in all that was done correctly. Also, they went out of the way to let us know they're not changing, they're not Americanizing La Lucha Libre style from AAA Mexico. They're having Triple Mania, I believe this weekend, another one in August. They're not changing. It's going to say traditional Lucha Libre from Mexico, what you learn and love, but they're going to get the global exposure that the WWE brings with WWE talent. So they're not bending the wheel, and I believe all night, it was 3-2 was the final tally if you're taking the score at home on the matches on WWE versus AAA Mexico. Rightfully so, 3-2. If you want to go with that, whatever. That WWE went over by one match, whatever. To me, as long as everyone goes over, like Mr. Iguana, one of the hottest selling T-shirts on WWE.com right now. That man's gonna make money. You heard what Penta said. When Penta just showing up to WWE, he made $1 million on one match of bonus. So for Mr. Iguana with Chica or I forget the name of his iguana, the name of the iguana. They're just going to make money. When WWE starts making the plush iguana doll, they're going to make money. Things that's all about making money, visionary. So that's the good. That's the good of WWE, the big machine. I know this, and there's with all the bad that we say and we always highlight. That's the good. That money's going to change the Mr. Iguana's trajectory in Mexico. For good, bad, or difference, he's going to make money, which we don't know if he needs it or not. So good for that, and others. Psycho Clown. Psycho Clown.
They're going to get more. Yes, they're going to get more because how many people are already saying I'm buying my Iguana Kid T-shirt already? Yeah, because they have it. They have it on sale.
Yeah, it's already that one of the hottest WWE Hot Shots t-shirts. We put it on
Those guys, and and again, they put him on the Jumbotron and Money in the Bank, got a big pop. So this won't be the last time. I would, again, with Dominic fitting into I like Dominic. He wasn't a part of the show, which I was a little surprised, but he could be, because again, Conan mentioned that's my godson. We saw him do the work in the match, so it makes sense. He speaks Spanish. He's Mexican, gets heat. So his father, Rey Mysterio, alone, him calling him a deadbeat's gonna get heat in AAA in Mexico. Guys, I'm gonna put it out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dominic have a little special appearance in one of these Triple Manias in AAA.
Oh yeah, he will be there, and also narrate. The show opened up with Rey Mysterio narrating in Spanish.
That was awesome. I loved it.
What it means
made sense.
In AAA Mexico, and then he opened up. He came out to a ruckus crowd. Got on the microphone, thanked and talked. Great job, Rey Mysterio. I mean, we're talking about a Latin ambassador. Like Eddie Guerrero is that Latin ambassador that everyone give homage to in all across. It doesn't matter if you're Mexican, Chilean, Puerto Rican. When you talk about lucha libre, you talk about the Latin representation. You think of quickly an Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and so forth. So great to see that those ambassadors there on that card made us feel proud. It was a weekend of not just because this in New York City and the East Coast is National Puerto Rican weekend, and Los Angeles or with lucha libre, it felt like it was a Mexican. But at the end of the day, as Latinos, we're seeing the representation from Lola Vice being Cuban American or Cuban.
They showed Priest and Savio.
Savio was there. Danal is from Panama. So, they're Mexican influence. So Latin America was so representative. And Friday night we had Axiom, who's from Spain. So we were so happy, so proud to see our Latin heritage being displayed all across lucha libre, professional wrestling. So kudos on that there. Good job there. Making us feel excited. And look, we've been doing interviews here showcasing the independent of lucha libre with Latin wrestlers, Puerto Rican descent or just Latin descent on our channel. And it's been a pleasure to speak with that. And I'm understanding and I'm looking to see now the mainstream where now that we saw this weekend makes us think like, you know what, we're onto something. We were ahead a little bit of the curve. Not to blow our own horns. We're not doing it for, we're not really doing it. Do we want our names out there? Let's be honest, we kind of do a little bit. But at the end of the day, I want to hear their stories. I want to hear, I'm interested in hearing the luchadores, the men and women that wrestle for the independent scene on our channel. And I'm glad that now the mainstream audience is getting to find out the big names on their story on WWE TV and TNA, NXT, the AEW, all across the big companies. And we're thankful that, we could be able to do our part in the minors on the up and comers as well. So I'm glad, it's not like that we're copycatting. We're actually started the trend a little bit. We're not taking credit. We don't give a crap about who's first, whatever, as long as our representation gets the exposure and the voice that it's needed in 2025 and beyond. So I'm so happy for that. Chris, I want to talk about, let's change a little bit of gears. We've been WWE centric. Let's go to TNA. TNA had their, Against All Odds pay-per-view Friday night from Arizona. I think you heard of them in two ways. TNA being Arizona, everyone is, and it's great that they had talent close by. Los Angeles, Phoenix area, not that far from one another, but it kind of hurt it with Worlds Collide the following day because TNA has tapings for the next 2 weeks that Saturday night. It's hard not to get a lot of TNA we would have loved more TNA representation at Worlds Collide because we were promised the Nemets. Nemets never showed up because they're obligated to TNA taping for the next week. They are their tag team champions. I understand if TNA says my television show takes a little more precedent right now, regardless of the fact people don't see much of it like they like to poo-poo it, but they're their tag team champions. That's why also Santana not winning the title because he had to go to House of Glory on yesterday, Saturday, to defend his House of Glory World title. We'll get into that card too. Trust me, we got a lot to say, a lot of good things to say about that and the card. It hurt it TNA in my opinion there. Just kind of hurt it with I hope they get a live taping show where they could tape, or every other week instead of every 2 weeks. I think especially if WWE and AAA and wants to help them or want to collaborate with live TVs and exposure, that's what's going to hurt a little bit of TNA in my opinion.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and I could agree with that. I overall thought Against All Odds was a good pay-per-view.
It was.
You and Heather were actually really more interested in that than SmackDown. At one point. But I loved All Against All Odds. I really liked, the Playhouse with Santana, because I know we're on the Santana train. I don't mind that they did that. I know it was a little tough because we talked about him going from Arizona to New York and travel and all that. But at the end of the day, AJ Francis caused him arguably the biggest match of his career. So he had to get his payback. If it meant, hey, I'm going to go to Arizona just to get my payback or just to confront you, I'm cool with that. I will let that slide. But overall, again, Joe Hendry versus Kazarian, nothing on the line. You still saw a really good match, implication for the story. Joe Hendry still looked good out there. Again, with the women, with Masha Slamovich, she looked really good out there. I have nothing bad to say about TNA. It was a 3-hour show. Nothing's interesting is gonna happen. I like the Santino and Robert Stone match. There were some spots that were where Robert Stone just missed completely and Santino, but it was a good, silly match with Cardona dressing like he was fucking out there to compete in a match as the special guest referee. But it was fun. It was something to get ready for the main event. It was something to, just have some fun. I mean, it was a fun match with Tessa and Victoria, interfering. Ariana doing her thing, which could have went bad. We know that could have went bad multiple times. But they did a very good job there with involving her, coming to her father's alliance. I think the crowd really was behind it because, when you're, Santino's real loved in the TNA community, especially as the director of authority. So happy for Santino, this was a good showing. Even Robert Stone, despite what I said about his spots, it looked good out there because he's a heel. He got heat. So he knows what he's doing. Again, it's wrestling. It happens. He knows what he's doing out there. So good match. Main event. Again, we know Trick Williams. We know Trick Williams is gonna win. We knew Elijah was gonna come out there and hit the same 3 chords like he always does. But it was fun. It was okay. We know Trick was gonna win. There was no question Elijah was taking the title away from Trick. But I thought TNA was a fun show. I liked Macklin coming in the beginning. Eric Young, that little segment they had there where he was mad at Sammy, and then Sammy Callahan comes in. That's gonna be a good one. I think Sammy Callahan needs to be featured more on these pay-per-views and not just in the backstage stuff because he had an amazing death match not too long ago at the last pay-per-view. And, Steve Macklin went to International Championship. I think him and Sammy Callahan could have a good feud for it. Overall, I have nothing bad to say about Against All Odds. I thought it was good. It was fun. Again, I love TNA. They give graps, they give stories, and they give stories and graps. You saw graps with, the Hardys, the 6-man that match they had there with the Hardys, Wanka. They give you fun matches, and then they give you stories, with Stone and Santino and all that, and they give you both with a lot of other stuff they do even on their weekly shows. So good show for TNA. I had more intrigued of it than SmackDown, and I think they're gonna, just get them a TV deal. Live TNA will help this company succeed. It'll help the interests, especially them working with WWE, especially the potential of them working with the AAA. If we know things are taped, me and Kev talk a little bit about it off air. It's like we already kind of knew Santana wasn't gonna win because of tapings, because of what they've got going on. So it's an interesting one, but overall good pay-per-view by TNA on a Friday night that was up till 1 p.m. or 1 a.m., but it's a Friday night. And it was good wrestling. It wasn't bad wrestling. It's not like I know Kev, had he was streaming till 7:30 and he ended at 1. I think it's fair to say, it was good wrestling. It wasn't not like, oh, I want to get off or it's dragging out. I don't know, Kev, would that be fair to say?
Yeah, fair to say, especially when the Against All Odds starts the same time head to head, kind of with SmackDown. I thought SmackDown, the first 2 hours of Friday Night SmackDown was really good. The second hour, third hour, kind of dragged a little bit. I don't know, because I was anticipating turning over to TNA because TNA started at 10, and and they started right at that hour of the final hour of SmackDown. Maybe I was more especially on the pre-show. You get the return. You had the 6-woman tag match. You had the Elegance ladies. It was Ash, Heather, and
oh my God, I forgot about that.
New woman, the new girl. I forget her name. I gotta remember her name.
Is it Maggie Lee?
Maggie Lee, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know it's M by Elegance because she goes now by M by Elegance, not Maggie Lee no more. She cut the Lee down. And it's Saya Brookside, Harley Hudson, and Mariah Grace, newcomers to the TNA roster. Good to see them on the pre-show, but that's not the big story. We have the return of the formerly known Iconics, now the Inspirationals, back in TNA. Holy crap! We got 2 women knockout tag teams. We were saying, when we saw the Carl Jackson get released, and Last Legend, what are they doing? Knockouts need more tag titles. No Spitfire, but in comes the Iconics, aka Inspiration. Oh wow, that's a great way. And then you're watching SmackDown. You're like, shit, I want to be. I'm watching. I'm going back and forth, and I can't show it simultaneously on my playback. Only I could show one or the other. It was kind of, it was like, oh my God, what an undertaking. Big task I had in front of me, but I managed. Then, of course, one match that opens up that I was extremely, extremely invested in, because I like the way Steve Maclin fights, and I'm a big fan. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm a huge fan of Mance Warner. That Southern Psycho SOB is one of my favorites right now in TNA. I mean, his matches are never a dull moment. Him and Sami Callihan. Then I said, man, these guys hit hard, Maclin and Warner. They went to battle war. I hope they run it back in more stipulation match or whatever the case is. I hope we have a nice sequence of battle there. Retaining of the champion, but the Southern Psycho, when he's on, he captures my attention. Mance Warner, look him up. If you missed his work in MLW or across the independent scene, well, he's now on TNA. Now is the time to keep, start appreciating what a Mance Warner brings to professional wrestling. And Steve Maclin, unappreciative wrestler of all time, he's really good. Steve Maclin is another one who's just like the kids like to go. He's a grappler. He likes to grap, hard hitting style. Of course, another one that we want to talk about. We had the match with. I wish she would have won, because I would have seen a parade all over Chongqing, China, if Li Ying Li would have won the knockouts for a title, but she didn't. But it was a good match for her. Won a good showing, but after the match, the return of Killer Kelly returns back to TNA. Another knockouts that we were like, man, where is Killer Kelly? Where's Kyla King? Where's Hex? Where we were looking for some of the TNA knockouts from the past, or that were under contract not so long ago, and then been out for whatever reasons, injuries, maternity, whatever. And good to see that Killer Kelly is back, because when she comes to your arena, she gathers your attention. She's one of those ladies like, ooh, I gotta watch Killer Kelly. And Marsha and Killer Kelly have some kind of weird chemistry connection, either by adversaries or teammates or whatever. There's a story there with Marsha. Now that Tessa is out with a little bit of an injury for a while with the concussions, don't know when she's returning, or they're just stalling to not have her give her the title right away, Chris. Maybe they could put something in there, filler while it's in there. I still think Tessa becomes champion at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, Bound for Glory. Yeah, one of those pay-per-views she'll become champion.
I don't think it's gonna be on the UBS arena. I think Marsha will take on Killer
She's
Kelly.
in New York. She's really popular in that scene too. So I don't mind that. I agree. I could
see that. I could see that. Good matchup there for the TNA Tag Team title with the Nemets and the Rascals. In the one we're like, ooh, could the Rascals actually beat the Nemets? That was another one that I enjoyed. You never thought that it was going to be a one-sided. The Nemets are going to retain. No, I like the way they told the story. The little dissension from the brothers, the danger zone from Nemeth, beating the Rascals. The Rascals didn't look punked or weak either in that. Only thing that I want, and no one, and I'm looking around after the match. Trey Miguel darted back to the locker room really extremely fast. I don't know if there was an injury. He left Zachary Wentz alone, which I mentioned. I saw that on the watch along. I was like, I wonder something fishy there. What's going on? Joey Taylor in the building. Good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon, Joey, joining us here. And then the Robert Stone and Santino Marella. It was just one of those matches that, there was some implication, a declaration of authority to Stone no longer than TNA, whatever the case was. But we were more invested on, was Adriana's Teclas going to come out? Because the shirt kept dropping down, the tube top kept coming down, and there was like 4 instances that we also saw. We almost saw some pepperonis coming out there. It was 12:30 at night, so the kids should have been asleep if that was to happen for Adriana Grace. We were going to see her Grace all over TNA. Talk about a liaison. But then, of course, Trick Williams and Elijah. We knew that Elijah wasn't going to win this, especially when you had the hottest thing wrestle right now, Trick Williams on TNA, on NXT TV, and Mike Santana. And Mike Santana coming out with the first class penthouse. We know he had to make an appearance, and I like how they tied this storyline wise. Because during the backstage promo, Santana was being checked on, and he put his hands on the doctor, which is going to lead for a 2-week suspension because he wasn't going to be there yesterday for the tapings of TNA for the next 2 weeks in Tempe, Arizona. So how you do that? You're suspended. Wow, because we all know Mike Santana was going to host his Mike Santana House of Glory Puerto Rican weekend. We're going to get into that right here. I'm going to talk about the main event. Big surprise is Mike Santana versus Toma Ishii for the House of Glory World title. And the event was called Puerto Rico versus the World. This match, I counted it. We were counting. We were doing a little bit of a pool. How many super kicks versus chops with Terumaichi and Jey Uso with the super kicks? The final tally, it was 4 super kicks to 28 chops. Yes, I got the notebook. There it is, the notebook with all the tallies. Yes, but it was a good match, regardless of the fact that they just chopped the crap out of each other back and forth from Tamaishi. But Tamaishi did do some wrestling. It was impressive. The Stone Cold Pitbull did something, but we had an interference. We had a cash in. I guess there's a contract or like a Money in the Bank or a cash in situation with Charles Manson, Puerto Rican native as well. We saw him last year in the House of Glory. He asked him to interject himself and made it a triple threat match. Back and forth. They wrestled about another 15 minutes on that main event, but everyone was shocked that Charles Manson becomes your House of Glory World Champion, where Mike Santana lose. Fellow Boricua did win, finished the night off in his show, winning the House of Glory Time Championship, but in a shocking revelation, no one thought Santana was going to lose. He got on the microphone saying pretty much goodbye and thank you to House of Glory for the opportunity. The way I see it, they're telling him, kid, you're going to be now the face of TNA. We're going to need you to be on TNA taping. We're going to need you to be available. You're going to hold off on your independence showing and bookings. Not, you can still take them, but not much when we're going to need you. You're going to now be working TNA, maybe some WWE, NXT, pay-per-views, and so forth, Chris. I think the Rocket is going to be the summer of Santana coming up now.
I hope so. I hope so, because you're talking about somebody who is making that company some bucks in the independent scene with House of Glory. Especially them opening up in Orlando. I hope so. They better make Mike Santana the face of TNA if this is the because I woke up this morning and I saw the thank you. How I was like, is he leaving House of Glory? Like what? Like I knew like his on the mic, but like I didn't realize that was like a goodbye until the tweet this morning that I saw. Again, it's interesting. I hope you're right, because I love House of Glory. Santana's a huge huge part of that company. Them going to Orlando could open. So we'll see. I hope so.
And I'm going to read his tweet earlier. Mike Santana writes, "What a run. Thank you, House of Glory. You always believed in me. Thank you, New York City, for always believing in me. You watch me grow up right in front of you. Love you all. Goodbye." From Mike Santana. And then House of Glory retweeted or rebutted, and because you carried our title and brand with the utmost respect and honor. You will always be forever grateful. We will always be forever grateful. We truly provided you where you're one of the best in the world today. You will forever be the standard of main event caliber talent and matches here and anywhere you go. Thank you. Now keep taking over the world. Hashtag Born Nasty. So yes, it looks like his run in House of Glory has come to an end in a proper way, because the 2 years that the Puerto Rican weekend has been great. You've seen a lot of Puerto Rican wrestling showcase, and I want to thank him because we're able to now see those wrestlers, make good friends, like a Jay Santiago, aka Jay Heights, like a Matt Awesome, like a Jared Diaz, like a Valentina Vasquez, like a Johan Nora. By the way, congratulations to Johan, who is the champion in Arkansas. He went out there and he did what he was going to do, get back some more gold, 20 pounds of gold around his waist. Congratulations to our friend Johan. Wayne, good job, man. You're making us proud there. We continue to root for you on the sidelines here at home. And we're going to always continue to put everyone over that's come on our channel. Yeah, and if you represent the Boricua flag or the Hispanic flag, we're definitely going to be rooting for you, or any wrestling. We appreciate everyone that go out there and live their dream, and respectfully and respect the business. We're definitely we are behind you 1,000%. So we are proud and appreciate that. And good job there. So for Mike Santana, good job. I thought I got to see a Mantequilla match finally, full while I was watching the watch along. He took on Mathis from the WEDI program. Mantequilla gets the victory there, the close one. I love the storyline between Amazing Red and his protege Infamous, where Diamond got involved. And I love the way they told that story. They were going on a count out, and the commissioner, the Solemn Monster, said, no, extend the match. And they went, and she got involved, and he defended his title against Amazing Red. I thought it was going to be a new champion. Diana Perrazzo taking on Electra Lopez. Diana in-ring, great presentation. But I think Diana has to do some physical work to get back into more wrestling shape, in my opinion. Look who's talking. Yes, I know, but I am not getting paid to be a wrestler. I'm not being paid for my physique or my look. I'm an electrician. I'm there to make, get houses up and running for inspection. Doesn't matter how I look. I just got to get my job done and pass inspection from the county. That's what's required of my job. But for yours, you got, Diana, got to get in a little more shape. I love you. You're a beautiful woman. Yes, but let's face it, this is an appearance-driven business where they're going, people complain about the body shaming, but don't feed into the narrative of the people. That's just my opinion, young lady.
Yeah, overall, House of Glory Puerto Rico. I'm happy they did it again this weekend. It seems like it's the last one.
I think so.
So, again, thank you, Mike Santana, for doing an all wrestling show just dedicated to us, to the culture, Puerto Rico. There's nothing much else I could say about it. It's sad that he's leaving House of Glory, but hopefully this leads to bigger and better things for Mike Santana and TNA.
Yeah, another mention there, Marcus Mathis, of course, taking on Mantequilla. Dan Moff took on a wrestler I never heard of. I never seen him before, Mander. So, and then you had a great 6-man scramble. A couple wrestlers that just graduated the House of Glory Academy were part of the show. Good that Danny Dynamite was there as well. Got to see that duel as well. So all in all, good representation there for Puerto Rican weekend. Again, good job there. If it's the final one, it was good. 2 years in a row. Hopefully there's some more. Hopefully someone picks up the mantle. Or maybe they change it instead of House of Glory, just another promotion. I would love to see that. Just showcase that with all the Latino Puerto Rican wrestlers come in. You can have a real nice showcase. But if it was the last one, thank you so much. It was a fun one. We look forward to it so much and we're not gonna stop cheering and rooting our fellow Puerto Rican wrestlers because you're not doing a show anymore. No, we're still in I think it even drags the hunger more to continue to accentuate and put the spotlight on the Puerto Rican wrestling all across all different platforms, from the independent scene to the major big scenes and beyond. So good job there, Mike Santana. Beautiful. Let's talk some All Elite Wrestling here. We have the 4-hour Fyter Fest. Here's one thing. Every time I think of Fyter Fest, I want nothing but a steak. Oh, wait. Chris got something to say. Give it a minute. Oh, he's going to go get a piece of steak.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is the AEW portion of the show. We had in the 4-hour Fyter Fest, you know, kind of went in the first 2 hours of there was Dynamite, and then it went into the Collision. I don't like that. I don't know why you can't just do a straight 4-hour Fyter Fest. But maybe it's the Max, the network. I don't know. But we heard from Will Ospreay in the beginning. I'm just gonna go through some of the things that I like, some that I don't. I'm not gonna go long on this because it was a 4-hour show. I'm not doing that. We still have another big topic we need to talk about on this show. That's a little more interesting. But Will Ospreay basically comes out, you know, says he doesn't want to fight Swerve since he's been his friend for about 12 years. Will Ospreay says Swerve and Hangman hate each other. Will made it clear that the enemy is Moxley. So Will Ospreay wants them to put their differences aside to retrieve the belt, and then they can beat each other up. So basically, and then, you know, whatever, we got Swerve, and then next week, a big match, another 4-hour extravaganza. We have Swerve Strickland taking on Will Ospreay. I'm really excited. Next week is stacked. I'm not gonna lie, it looks way better than this week. So we have Will Ospreay and Swerve. I'm really curious on how that match is gonna go. If we're not getting that match at All In this year, which I wanted last year, but they had to do it for Bryan Danielson, maybe we get these two teaming up against the Young Bucks, trying to do something there, which is whatever. I would have preferred this match at All In Texas with a proper build, but that's okay. It's going to be a phenomenal match. Moxley versus Briscoe was okay. It was a really good match, you know, hard-hitting guys. Moxley obviously wins, no surprise. You know, he's not going to lose before All In Texas. So it's something. But Mark Briscoe did a promo saying how he's not going to quit, and he basically lost another week this week. So I kind of feel bad for Mark Briscoe in that sense. But we had Timeless Tony Storm and Mina versus Julia and Sky Blue, with numbnuts Mercedes Moné eating a dry-ass steak. That was awful. I mean, that steak looked so damn dry, it wasn't even funny. I can't stand Mercedes coming on commentary. I'm not a fan of it. But it was an okay match, and whatever, we know Timeless Tony Storm's not going to lose. MJF, we hear from the Hurt Syndicate. Basically, MJF, you know, there were Bobby chants, as Bobby Lashley is from Colorado. You know, MJF put over Bobby and Shelton as the Dominic Tag Team Champions. MVP asked, where are the Tag Team Champions? Nobody, and claiming that there's no one capable of beating them for the Tag Team titles. MJF cut a promo, took the microphone, and said, basically, he wants gold. He wants gold around the waist. You know, he sees that his guys, his new faction mates in the Hurt Syndicate are champions. He wants the AEW World title, but unfortunately, he mentions CMLL's guy, top star in Mexico, formerly, I think, Sin Cara. Ooh! And then MJF claimed that he was the best wrestler in the world, you know, kind of claimed, you know, he's the youngest foreigner to sell out the Arena Mexico, talked about Happy Gilmore, and basically called Mexico and Mexico filthy. They are setting up for Grand Slam Mexico in 2 weeks. Again, heel promo, nothing bad. But then we got Speedball, Mike Bailey, Commander, and Kevin Knight. And then I turned my TV off because I didn't want to fucking see any of them. So we're going to move on there. You know, again, we had a Beast Morto, another 6-man match between them. Beast Morto's Rush and Dralistico versus Speedball, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, Commander. No, thank you. Not worth my time talking about. It was I already seen a Lucha Libre, so I don't need that. Max Caster comes out. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Chants start breaking out. Max Caster called for 5 minutes on the clock, and we'll see who can survive against the best wrestler alive. Here comes Powerhouse Hobbs. Yes, 1/3 of the Trios Tag Team Champions. Powerhouse Hobbs comes out, and it was a squash match. So what a waste of time for both. The main event of the first 2 hours, Kenny and the triple. This is the only stuff I really care about, because after this, I'm just going to go into 2 more things and then move on. Kenny Omega, Claudio, Brody King, and Masterka Joretta. I have no idea who that is. I really would have liked a Brody King to win, because now it is we see that Kenny wins the match after, and Okada comes out. It's obvious they've been planning for this match for a long time. Now we have 2 unifying matches, which I can't stand. But at least for this, I don't think Kenny's international title means anything anyway. So unify both of them, make 1 title, and get rid of 1, because we don't need both of them. And then from the collision part, from the 3rd hour, Ospreay defeated Leo Rush. Kyle Fletcher, Takeshita, and Hiriko defeated the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Banditos and Los Outrunners. And the main event was boring. You made me watch 4 hours of AEW for my final match to be Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, and Daniel Garcia versus Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, Lance Archer, and Josh Alexander. So that was kind of a short summary of my thoughts on the 4-hour fest. I didn't like how it was divided. It was a little too long on a Wednesday night, but they are doing this because of the NHL playoffs. Next week looks really good. Contract signings between Okada and Omega, match Ospreay and Swerve, Moxley, and a Hangman a face-to-face. So next week's show is looking more better, but this week's Dynamite was unfortunately not that great for it being 4 hours.
Look, I'm looking forward to next week. Mercedes had a piece of steak. I wonder if Tony Storm is going to sit on commentary to eat a lasagna.
Probably.
Keep it going. I know. We don't know, because they're not. I know what's sacred. They're not touching the pizza rolls and catering from the back like Taz says. They come on. They're serving pizza rolls. That's what they're doing. Meanwhile, Mercedes, they're jealous because Mercedes is eating a dry ass, tough ass microwave steak on commentary, and meanwhile they're eating pizza rolls in the back. That's the state of AEW with their catering. I mean, so don't look for Apollo. Congratulations, anyway. Speaking about the master of catering, Apollo Crews got himself a degree. So it helps. Look, Deonna Purrazzo got a degree sitting in catering. So did Apollo. So if you're an aspiring wrestler that wants to work on your master's degree, catering is where to go. The School of Catering will help you get your master's and your degree in the background. I kid, guys. I kid before everyone gets all up in their comeuppance and get mad at us and say, "Oh, Jedi, what are you doing?" Look, All Elite Wrestling has 4 hours to entertain. It's a summer night. These are good for some of the kids who could stay up late because they're not going to school the next day, whatever the case is. They got 4 hours of wrestling. I see it. School of Catering. There you go, James. Yeah, Professional Wrestling School of Catering. We'll work on your master's degree and your PhD on there. So yeah, I mean, oof. But all in all, for All Elite Wrestling, look, they're building right now. Next week is going to be something where they could build. For Arena Mexico, I think that's going to be fun. That Grand Slam in Arena Mexico, I think that's going to be a good show, especially what Worlds Collide just did with WWE. They're going to want to put their right foot forward, the best foot forward and go forward. Pie derecho. Hopefully AEW don't go with his pie derecho y el culo cagao like they normally do, but hopefully they deliver. They deliver. Hopefully they could deliver a strong show for that. I've got a little birdie. Gave me some information. A little birdie told me we all know the Bellas are coming tomorrow night. They'll be at Monday Night Raw. Looks like they're going to be challenging for the women's tag team champion against Liv and Raquel. Evolution 2. Are you excited with that?
No.
Look, you can't touch. You don't
No.
want to look. You don't want to look at them.
Nah, I want to look at him. I don't want to. I want to look at him. Not on my WWE programming.
I want to touch the television screen and change the channel.
I don't. I understand Nikki was a big part of the evolution. First one. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see anything those two ladies have to do.
It's rumored they're going to be taking on, as the twins, they'll be taking on Liv and Raquel. Boy, I wonder how Tony Khan's going to take that with Bryan Danielson's wife on the WWE TV. Oh, boy, talk about that.
He wanted them too.
One of the matches being rumored, Jacy Jayne versus Mariah July for the NXT Women's title.
Okay, you want to get into that? That's why I didn't want to spend too much on Fyter Fest, because we got to talk about something bigger, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I put a pin on it. Mm-hmm. So yes, let's get into that. Mariah May makes her debut NXT. No one expected it. Nobody. Look.
Not on Tuesday. Not that Tuesday.
We all expected the Great American Bash. Look, I'm going to say this about Mariah May. I cannot wait to see her on NXT. Like I said, her and Kalani, I think Kalani should be her first opponent. I would love to see a Kalani Jordan versus Mariah, whatever they call her, Mariah May match. Mariah versus, anybody she goes into that. Her and Jacy Jayne, whether it's Jacy Jayne, Jordan Grace. She's going to have a good match at the American Bash, and she's going to win it really, really quick. Now, the Tony fumbled chant, because, we're going to get some of those in the chat, and I've seen them all over. Tony didn't fumble her. I'm not going to get into all that, but I'm just going to say Tony did not fumble her. He gave her a great world title run, had her in the best storyline, arguably in the women's history of that company with Toni Storm, made her a big star. This is something that Mariah May has wanted to do. You go back and look at all her old tweets and stuff. Videos are now coming to life on Twitter. This has been her dream forever. You can't, not support her, or what? Because if you truly support Mariah May, the wrestler, which I do, you're gonna, be excited for her NXT run, which I am. But it's not that Tony fumbled re-signing her or fumbled her booking. She simply said, "Hey, my time here is done. Thank you. I want to go live up my dream." You don't see her talking about the company in a negative way, and you don't hear the company talking about her in a negative way. I think it's mutual. Again, like James in our chat, she wanted out. She wanted to go to WWE and live her dream. She did what she could in AEW, and with the AEW women's booking right now, I don't blame her if she doesn't want to go back there. So I think Mariah May is going to thrive. She's going to do really well. It was a great debut, unexpected. It's just, I think it's funny now the people that called her Timu Tiffany are big Mariah May fans. It's funny. I think it's, that part of social media. But overall, happy for Mariah May. She's going to do great things in NXT, with Stephanie, Julia, maybe Jordan potentially going to the main roster. She's her time's now, so she's going to thrive.
Look, Mariah May coming to the WWE is something she wanted to do. The first time around, WWE didn't offer a contract, so she went and made it work. She could have said, "You know what? This company didn't believe in me. Screw you. Now you want me? Screw you, pal." Hopefully, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm hope that she got a lot of money to go back to the WWE, because they didn't want her before. The same thing with Stephanie Becker. Stephanie Becker tried out WWE before, and she didn't make the cut. And what did Becker do? She went around the world and got herself over. Where now, look at where Stephanie Becker is right now, the most working 43 matches in 48 hours for the company, and being pushed organically and by her hard work. That's kudos for Mariah May. Mariah May saw there wasn't really going to be much. She was already at the top of the mountain in AEW. What is there really there? I mean, a TBS title run, and then being off of TV, she wants to work. She wants to wrestle. She had an opportunity out, and she's taking it over to WWE, where she's going to conquer a new fan base. A new fan base in NXT. Then once she conquers that, she has a whole fan base on SmackDown. If that, or vice versa, then she go over to Raw and the WWE Universe. So I could see, that you're looking at a 3-year um, storyline build for Mariah May to be relevant, or whatever her contract is. If she in AEW, she already meant to the top. Even then, what? Maybe the TNT run, and maybe Tony rushes everything. He doesn't let nothing breathe, and then she's gonna be, maybe, I don't, and she's not interested in getting her master's degree, to go to the school of catering to get her master's. She don't want to be in catering. She don't want to go to school there. She don't want to go online degree. So she accomplished a lot. It's a win-win for both companies. That's why I say, if Bayley really wants out, I don't want to lose Bayley, but if Bayley wants out and she's not happy in WWE, and she wants to give a run and help out AEW women's division, and they could come to an agreement, she just signed a contract extension. So I don't know if that's working there. But if she wants to go there, I mean, it's not trading, but if WWE has a match, Loser Town with her and Becky, which doesn't look like it, rumored it's going to be a triple threat match. I got to see how they are going to incorporate Bayley in the IC title match with Lyra Valkyria and Becky. So it'll be a triple threat. The card is coming out, the rumors. I don't know how they incorporate that, but we're going to see Bayley back, which is good in Evolution 2. You needed her there. We'll see how that goes. We'll see where that goes for Mariah May. Great job. Let's see where we know WWE is going to do the best to put her in the right position to succeed. So you got to be excited there, and we're going to see. What else? You want? I got the card. You want me to give you the card of the rumored card for the Evolution, the early form?
I could probably, yeah, you can go ahead, pull it up, talk about it. Real quick, I'm predicting, Jade and Charlotte. That I could see that playing. Again, I think what you said about Bella's could happen. But yeah, give me we can talk a little preview of Evolution.
All right. Now I want to see them building this. Don't just slap it in there. You got Io versus Rhea for the world title.
Okay. That's already on the verge of happening potentially.
Yes, you could see that. Becky, Lyra, Bayley for the women's intercontinental title.
I don't mind
that. Titles, the Bella versus the Raquel and Liv. Alexa versus Tiffany. Naomi cashes in. They see that might happen where we see Naomi cash in and probably a new world champion. Jade versus Charlotte. You got Julia versus Jordynne Grace for the United States title. So they've got Selena Vega already losing this woman. They're not even making it to Evolution with the United States title. I have a hard time believing that. That one I'm holding my breath. I don't see that. The Secret Harvest taking on Trish, Lita, and Mickie James. I could see that. That'll be a fun match with Mickie, Lita, and Trish, taking on the Secret Harvest. That would be a nice, fun match in the Evolution Battle Royal, where you're probably going to see women from NXT, Evolve, TNA come together there in a celebration. I can see that, but the one I'm holding on, I'm not going to hold my breath too much, is the Julia, Jordynne Grace. Even the Alexa and Tiffany for Naomi cashing in. But you're definitely going to see Jade, because there is no Bianca Belair. So you
think when Julia and Zelina face, you think Zelina's actually going to beat Julia?
But I don't think they're going to happen right away. Unless it was for Night of Champions, and now that makes sense. Like, again, we still got a whole month. We got a month because
that's what I'm saying. And Night of Champions, look, not to get on that rant, but I need Night of Champions from like 08 and 09, where every single title that company has is defended. Both your women's, both your undisputeds, and it's not going to happen. But because you had the Queen and King of the Ring finals, so that's not going to happen. But and especially with now shorter cuts of PLEs, I'm really curious to see how this year's Night of Champions is going to go. But I think a lot of the women's side, if they do have like a filler match that's not for the championship, which would blow because it's not a champions, but that could leave implications to Evolution, because they have to, in these pay-per-views, in these shows, they have to some way, somehow, at least give us a preview or some type of, tease on Evolution, because it's June 8th, Evolution's June 13th. It's going to come soon. So I hope they, consider that a little bit more with going into Night of Champions. And because, Night of Champions is in Saudi, maybe they might give them what they want, like they usually do. So they we'll see.
they look the cash in on James. Are you talking about the cash in the Night of Champions? I don't know if they're going to send a lot of the women to Night of Champions to Saudi this year. Unless well, you know what? Maybe I'll take it wrong because they might do SmackDown. Unless they do, they have done double tapings on that Friday night SmackDown before, and then they'll go to Saudi. I don't know. Well, because I don't know. To be honest with you, especially where now they have really SmackDown could be on the international feed. We did it, So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm gonna take a look at that. We'll find out more information next week on wrestling about that, or during our watch along. If SmackDown is going to be from Saudi, or is it going to be taped and then they're going to air it? At the respective time for all the different platforms. Because they have Netflix where we've seen it where they could go live at the right time where they're at the right venue time, and then if you got the VPN, you watch it. If you're now, you have to wait on USA Network at the rightful time where it airs. But man, with the belts, Night of Champions, I don't know if they're gonna put if that's the case, if they're going to just do that show at Saudi, then I don't think they'll send a lot of women there because they're gonna have a couple weeks later they're gonna have an all women show. Personally, and when I'm looking at the card, I would love to see the TNA Knockouts champion on this card. Give me some give me something different. Give me Marsha Slamovich versus, give me somebody. Lola Vice. I'm all right with that. Lola Vice doesn't have to go over, but she's on another pay-per-view, another PLE match highlight. Could she be the one going over and getting the title from? Or give me it doesn't have to be Mariah June or Mariah July. It could be JC James taking on someone from NX from TNA. Give me with Danny Luna. It's okay. Even if it's going to be predictable, but you still want to be entertained and show the representation of TNA trying to take the gold away from NXT. Something along those lines, vice versa, or even both matches. I'd rather have kind of that a little bit for the women's evolution because now you're really incorporating, some other. Hey, I wasn't, give me a TNA knockout, Marsha Slamovich versus Chick Tormenta. There's nothing wrong with it. AAA, TNA, make it there. So I hope that's not the real full card. Yes, I like the returning female wrestlers, like the Bellas. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't mind seeing the Bellas in this card. As much as we're poo-pooing it, I don't mind seeing the Bellas. I don't mind Trish, Lita, and Mickey against the Harvest. I think that'll be a fun match. Get that nostalgia there because these ladies did pay the way when men only were interested in seeing them wrestle in bra and panties. Now they're becoming the way women's evolution, the way the women have evolved. Now, I want to see them, give them the women respect that went through the bullshit back then with guys getting up and going to the bathroom. They still do it at times, but they were dealing with it that was the most accustomed and norm thing to do for those women. Now, women gather our attention, and I'm glad that they're going to get showcased in this card, hopefully going forward. And I want to see that out of the weekend. To be honest with you, more than Saturday night's main event is the women's evolution card. I think they're going to kill it. I think there's going to be a fun Sunday night matchup on a card for us. And it's going to suck because they got a lot of things going on in Atlanta. They not just all the wrestling, they got the Major League. I didn't know that. The All-Star Game weekend is going to be in Atlanta too. So talk about tourism and talk about people, the eyeballs there. Holy moly. There's a lot of things going on in Atlanta.
Yeah, there is. I forgot about that because the All-Star Game next year is in Philly. So, yeah, they do have that going on in Atlanta. Attention-inspiring strippers. Get ready. There's going to be a lot of people making it rain in your city. Lemon pepper wings. It's happening, man. And again, take Kev's advice.
Yeah, man. But this is our weekend wrestling. Hopefully, we got some Monday Night Raw qualifying matches here for the King and Queen of the Ring. We also got the title Gunther versus Jey Uso. I'm gonna go right now. I don't see a title change. I just got to see how they're gonna tell the story.
You think there's gonna be a title change?
No title change.
No title change.
No title change.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It's a tough situation. You don't want Jey Uso to lose right away, but you also can't have Gunther take a pin. I've been saying this since day one, and I'll throw the wild card. It's still a wild card. It's probably like a 10% chance. I think Goldberg interfere. I think we see Goldberg on tomorrow.
Goldberg, I think Punk.
Or Punk. Or okay.
Punk stops the cash in gets involved, it gets all chaotic, the match gets thrown out, and and
We'll
it
see.
kind of leads
Hopefully.
into like a tag team 6-man where Punk, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Gunther teams up with Rollins and one of the good guys, and then something crazy along the line, and that's going to be there, and and it's just convoluted stuff where it's just like just stalling time on the title.
That could happen as well.
That's the way I see it. I could be wrong because I don't, but yeah, Punk could team up, will challenge Rollins for that seat briefcase. Yo, you know what? You think you're a big tough guy where he challenges, and if I can beat you, I get a chance at that. I take that briefcase from you. And at Saudi Arabia show, Night of Champions, and who knows? I mean, all different things, and this is where Sami Zayn turns on Punk. Because
because we're still waiting for that. We are still waiting for that, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
But I don't know. But here's the question: I'll ask the chat, and I'll ask everyone: do we see CM Punk actually go to Saudi Arabia? Because he had some interesting comments about that.
I don't know about that one. That's an interesting one. I have no idea.
That's the interesting one because, and if he goes there, that will. If Sami Zayn turns heel and turns on Punk, he's going to get cheered. That's why I put that out there, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I came up with that. I came up with that where Sami Zayn crosses him that briefcase for Punk, and then you have Punk and Sami Zayn for about a month before SummerSlam, and then Punk, the filler, some stalling, Saturday night's main event where Punk wants to get his hand on Sami Zayn for costing him in Saudi Arabia. If he does go to Saudi Arabia, where fans are going to be cheering him instead of booing Punk for what Punk says, and oh my God, it'll be so interesting. The back and forth. It'd be talk about having the different crowds from across the world and different roller coasters up and down and all around. That's exactly what WWE. They smart. They could do that. That's win-win because you got different. You don't have the same people cheering for the same person. You have different waves of people getting over different regions. And it's a win-win because you get everyone invested. Not like everyone getting on that hate train or greatness hate, like they like to say. I like to see that, Chris.
No, you're not wrong. Again, they got to do something to keep it going. And with Jey Uso, I'm curious. If they're gonna stall another title defense, I don't. They probably have something big for him in the future. If you're gonna stall another title defense, if this championship match is gonna end in a weird way, kind of how like Logan and him ended at Saturday night's main event. So it's an interesting one. We're gonna have to wait and see. I'm really curious. Again, I have the wild card out there, but you make some really good points as well. So I think we'll be here next week, and it'll be an interesting one with whatever outcome. Because again, this is a match where neither of these guys can lose. So I need to know. I'm curious to see how they make it happen.
Exactly, and also here's another one a story you could tie in where you don't have to shit on that. It's going to be taped for the next 2 weeks, so you don't really need to watch. And we'll have to wait. Mike Santana's been suspended. He shows up on Saturday where Trick and AJ Francis are having a promo with Casey Navarro about why they're joining together, whatever the case, or the interference. He comes on and he says, "I might be suspended from TNA's television, but I ain't suspended here from Performance Center." And then he keep him alive and hot, that feud where then yes, we heard from Mike Santana on NXT Tuesday. Yes, we have Santino's Marella had to suspend him for putting his hands on the doctor on All Against All Odds and all that. They could tie it in, and then you save yourself kayfabe and story-wise because Santana. Now Santana's not going to be on 2 weeks. You don't have to say, because he was defending his title with House of Glory. No, you could bring it into the storyline and protect themselves. Where Mike Santana shows up at the Performance Center and he beats the crowd and cuts on the microphone. Now maybe he's be suspended from TNA from the Impact Zone for the next 2 weeks, but I ain't suspended here in NXT. And Ava allowed me to come in and say my thing. And he goes crazy. The crowd goes erupts and you could even have him next week in a match trying to get his comeuppance on Casey Navarro or AJ Francis, whatever mix, whatever, and then it'll hurt a little bit of TNA. But it also will put a little emphasis, bro. You need to start getting a live TV deal. At least tape for 1 week and then go to another.
Yep.
Because if you want to keep up, if you want to get pushed and you want to get elevated by WWE with the partnership, you need to come up with your live. You got Access TV. You should be able to go live. Come on. Let's go. You own the network. Keep up. Let's go. Because we want to root for you, TNA. We love it. We love that. We understand that you allow the talents to do independent bookings when they're not going live. We get it. We love that stuff. They're not exclusive. They make money elsewhere as well. But you have to, 1 week yes, 1 week no. Not every 2 weeks, not every 3. It's hurting. It's hurting, especially when you want to build for your biggest show in the summer and summerversary, where you got the hottest act in all of professional wrestling in Mike Santana. So you got, so hopefully that's something that they rectify, man. Let's go. Yeah, we see the potential, James. We're absolutely agreeing with you. TNA has potential to be the third and, dare I say, second top brand in professional wrestling. Close right there. 1 week they're the second, they go down to the third. I'm not saying they're going to be the number 2 and then, no.
No, I agree 100%.
Jockeying for position if they depending how strong they go for TNA, and we can see the potential there, and we get excited because we know that and they do great storytelling with matches, and the whole product is great. It's just the one caveat is that television deal that holds them back. Maybe they lose something. Maybe they get exposed being live too much. Maybe I don't know, but that's the heel of the ring here this afternoon. We thanks everyone for joining us on a beautiful Puerto Rican National Pride Week or National Night. Let's go. Don't forget, tune in this week. We got a couple of interviews, of course, coming up. We got, Amanda Fuentes on Thursday and Wednesday. We got a real good Natalie Perez, a third-generation wrestler. We'll have an interview, maybe some more as well. We're trying to book as we're waiting for some confirmations there. So hit the notification, the like button. Don't forget to check our past interviews. With Jayla Heights, did a phenomenal job. A wonderful wrestler here from, of course, from the Bronx, New York, now living in Orlando in Longwood training. Check her out there as well as Johan, Nara, Matt Awesome, Jared Diaz, Nair Robles. Check her interview out as well. We appreciate all those that interview with us. Check them out. They're all there on my YouTube channel or on Spotify or anywhere you get your audio platform. Get to know them. The Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan as well was gracious enough to give us a great interview, man. What a phenomenal job there with him. And he had a great match last night as well. Want to find out their results. I can't wait to hear their results on their matches. I know Johan is champion, so I know he won some gold. Nair continues to kill it. I know she was in a tag team match. Not with her Major League Blonde partner, but we're also trying to get on JC Storm to join us. Haven't heard from her back yet. We want to interview one half of the Major League Blondes and so forth. If you're an independent wrestler, we would love to hear your story. We'd love to tell your story, how you got into pro wrestling and so forth. We're willing to listen. We're willing to hear. We want to hear you. We want to talk to you. We want to get to know you, and we want to get to know you in a way where we want to sit on the sidelines and cheer you, regardlessly, unconditionally. So come on. We'll invite you, and hey, you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you for the watch along Monday for all the interviews. And of course, this is the Heel of the Ring podcast. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, follow us on X, feedback, comments. Thank you for all those people that put the comments after they watch the video. We appreciate the love and the admiration, and we appreciate everyone, each and every one. James, thank you guys. Thank you, Samurai. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome in the chat all across all different platforms. May the sports be with you. Remember, don't get pinned by life. Get over, kick out, and always, always may the sports be with you. Be